My name's Kevin Baldwin, and I'm from Cape Fear Community College. I work in the IT services department there as a computer technician. And I'm going to talk to you today about what we do for the help desk solution. And I was really hoping to have a lot more time. Unfortunately, being a community college, any community college folks here, North Carolina Community College, we don't get a chance to do a whole lot of conferences. So this, I didn't realize I was only going to have a half an hour. So we're going to go through very little of what we actually get to do. But we're going to touch on our main interface between us and what we do for our students and for our users, from a remote aspect and from a frontline aspect, as far as what the students see whenever they try to reach out to us for help and for our faculty and staff. Anybody has any questions, please feel free. I don't know how long I'm going to be getting into this. I'm going to try to stop with plenty of time for questions at the end. And I've got a stack of cards. My primary conversation here is going to be around Bomgar. We also rely heavily on CASE management, K1000, K2000, and we're a huge proponent in the state of North Carolina to reach out and talk to other community colleges, and not just community colleges, also for any county, any public entity that uses those tools. So anybody has any questions, we're always willing to help. And you can call me, you can email me, whatever, and we're always willing to help people with imaging and with any issues that they're having with scripts. We've got some great script writers, and be welcome to come up, grab cards, and reach out to us, and I'll be glad to help assist any way that we can with those applications. So a little bit about Cape Fear. Well, we've been around since 1958. We're the 6th largest community college in North Carolina. We have a little over 28,000 students a year, 553 full-time employees roughly, and 600 to 800 part-time employees. We have a 98% student satisfaction rate. I've been there at the college for 10 years total. It'll be 8 years this December. We have kind of a low turnover rate. We have a lot of faculty and staff who have been there for 15, 20 years. We have several people who have been there for 30 plus. As far as technicalities go, on the technology side, we have over 3,000 nodes. Just as far as PCs, this is what we see with our K-Box. This is mainly our PCs, laptops. We have 385 network printers. We've got 4 campuses over 2 counties. We have a 124-foot research vessel called the Cape Hatteras. We deal with Pyxis, Dentrix, virtual paint machines, virtual welders, and it's always one of them situations. We are there for the end user, and it's a situation a lot of times where we get a phone call at 8 o'clock in the morning, hey, the vendor's here, where are you at? Well, we were never told the vendor was going to be here, so we're jumping at the gun to try to do the support the best we can. Good example with the Pyxis, with the Dentrix. The virtual welder, I'm working now on setting the virtual welder up on the network so we can access that remotely, because we've already had to go. That is in another county where we have to actually still do a lot of sneaker net here in these days. But Bomgar has taken a lot of that away from us. What started out when I started working there, roughly 80% I'm boots on the ground, 20% I'm remoting in and doing work through Console 1. Now it's the opposite. I spend 80% of my time sitting at my desk, remoting in, doing work through Bomgar. It's a lot has changed, and it's getting better. But I'm sure a lot of you folks probably see the same challenges, where at a moment's notice you're called and you're having to take off and do something, or you're having to work with a vendor. We find that Bomgar helps us utilize tools in a much easier way to allow our vendors sometimes to help themselves. And I'll go over that more later. So, I saw one hand for North Carolina. Anyone else remember NetWare? Yeah, oh, the reluctant hands, let me tell you. I liked it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I enjoyed NetWare, eDirectory, you know what, the volumes. If you do it right the first time and you manage it correctly, anything can work to your benefit if all the pieces are in place from the start. And sometimes things just go wrong. Well, when North Carolina Community College, well, let's be honest, when Novell quit supporting NetWare in general, that put North Carolina in a situation where we were having to scramble to come up with solutions. And basically, Active Directory is that way, right? So we were in a position where we were having to transition over to Active Directory. We were having to find a replacement for GroupWise, a replacement for Console 1. So with that being said, we brought in some freeware and basically for our remote access. You know, you get what you pay for, right? You got free software, it may work, and being a community college, we weren't really so much concerned what are they going to hack into and get. I mean, for the most part, our admin network's locked down. They're not going to get into our servers for the most part and get student data. That we weren't concerned with that, but we ended up with some tools that just didn't work consistent. They didn't do what we needed them to do. There was difficulty getting that information to us where we could see it clearly. We would have calls from instructors who didn't know if their problems were with their monitors or with their PCs. We couldn't tell because it was in 256 color. You know, it just bad tools. So my brother actually came on about 6 years ago. We brought him over from Time Warner, and he introduced us to a couple of guys from Bomgar. And after going through a few demos, we finally purchased the box probably about 4 years ago. And that's what initially got us into Bomgar. And these are just some of the features with Bomgar. You can support the Windows, Mac, BlackBerry even, Android, Windows. The representative console, and I did not bring my work phone, but the IT department, we carry our cell phones with us everywhere. We have our smartphones on us always. So even if we're at another campus and somebody calls and says, Kevin, you're the guy to come to if there's an issue with a particular software. This guy's having a problem. Can you remote in and take a look at this? No problem. I stop whatever I'm doing, take my phone out. They transfer the ticket over to me. I remote into that machine and I look at it, do what I got to do, and then we move on. So anywhere I am on campus, I have access to our Bomgar interface. Session access, the data never passes through third-party servers. Integration with ITSM and service desk solutions like Autodesk, SysAid, our Dell KACE. Hopefully I'll get time to touch on how that interfaces at the end of this. Chat support for ITSM, and the chat support has really come a long way for us. Not as far as we would like for it to, but I'll show you here in a little bit how that's working out. Embedded remote support, remote app support. For those of you who are writing your own apps for Android, for Apple iOS, you can embed this into those applications. So if somebody calls and says, hey, I've got an application, I'm having issues with this application, you've got this embedded into it. You can watch that application in real time from Bomgar. So you can see where that app is failing as it's running. And they're constantly adding. I just got an email while I was checking into the hotel yesterday from Sophie over at Bomgar. They've added another feature. That's one thing I love about Bomgar. Constantly upgrading, constantly moving on, always looking for something new to add to this appliance. Proprietary remote access with no tunneling. This is probably the biggest, most important feature as far as I'm concerned for Bomgar. You don't have a VPN connection with anything. Somebody calls me and says their PC is infected. I can comfortably remote into that computer, look at that computer and see what's going on, and I don't have to worry about that computer infecting my computer. Now at that point, I'm going to go pull that computer off the network just so it doesn't infect anything else. But, if I think it's something I can clean up real quick, if I want to do it remotely, I can do it remotely. But for the most part, I don't have to worry about, okay, I'm now tethered to this machine, whatever's there can pass here. It's all proprietary, how it works. Elliot from Bomgar, the best way he's explained it to me, it's almost like a KVM connection. And Joel Bomgar developed this back in 2003. They are now across 9,500 companies in over 60 countries. They have offices in Mississippi, Atlanta, Georgia. They have offices in Singapore. They're in London. They're in Paris. These guys are huge. And that's their biggest selling point is the security. And that's just one of their selling points. They have a lot of stuff to offer. And there's a good link there for other features. Bomgar, go to Bomgar if you want to check it out. It's such a great tool. So hopefully y'all can see this pretty good. We never really tracked what we did as far as service desk calls. I started 10 years ago, and my primary role was phone support with remote corrections of whatever was going on, while the technicians would go out and they would take care of any issues that were out and about with the network or PCs, things like that. So I kept a log of whoever called in, but nobody ever tracked any of that stuff. It's a community college. Who cares about help desk support, you know? We started in 2003 documenting help desk statistics. We also brought in a group of temporary workers to do nothing but help desk. 2014, we did something we'd never done before. We took over the student side. We never worked with students. We were faculty staff only. We didn't, don't get me wrong, we care about the students. That's what we do. I mean, everything that we touch has something to do with the success of the students. The students don't succeed, we're out of a job. But that was all lab-based. That was all, we deal with whatever is in the classroom, whatever's in the labs, the libraries. That's where our job ended. Well, now we have a help desk that's dedicated strictly to student, faculty, staff. They deal with all aspects of helping these folks technologically. And that deals with setting their email, their class email, their class schedules, setting their college email up on their devices, whatever they need. They need to know how to print. They need to know how to, they don't know how to do a Word document or how to attach something to an email. We're there for them now. And you can see where everything changed. The blue, 2013, 2,600 call-ins. It doubled, it over doubled in 2014 when we took on the student side. 2015, we're poised to go even beyond that. We're trying to get away from phone support. We're trying, because I mean, I don't even call Dell anymore. Who calls Dell for service support? I go to their chat. If I don't log in and order the part myself, I go to chat, tell them what's going on in chat. I don't want to call Dell. Who wants to call Dell? Who likes talking to customer support on a vendor side? Nobody likes to talk to, it's just, we're beyond phones. Who uses phones for anything other than chatting and texting anymore? So our students are driving that entire mentality. Well, unfortunately, Bomgar, not quite there yet. We're getting there. You can see the walk-ins doubled from 2013, 2014. Email, man, I don't even know why people are still emailing us, but we're getting them. We're getting emails still. When I first started, I'd get 20 emails a day. 20 emails a day, 10 phone calls a day. Bomgar, when we first started doing the Bomgar chat, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. 2014, we had 108 chat sessions. 2015, and you can see that is up to June. We've had 136 so far this year. So we're getting there. We're starting to change that mentality. We're starting to get folks into using those tools to our advantage, to their advantage. It's easier for them. But you see the call-ins, 5,900 call-ins. This is where Bomgar really starts to pay for itself. Why did you do that? Here we go. This is our internal Bomgar statistics. 2013, we first got the box. We made 444 connections to other machines. And these connections can be anything from somebody calls and says, I need help with a document. I need you to take a look at this for me. This might be a virus. And it could also be one of our vendors, which at that time we didn't do vendors, but it could be one of our maintenance guys trying to get in and change the temperature in one of the rooms. So 2014, we had 6,088 connections through our Bomgar box. And a lot of those were part of that 5,000 plus phone calls that we got. Because when they call into the help desk, we're going to send them to Bomgar anyway. As soon as they call in, we're going to ask them, what's your inventory number? Every machine that we've got on campus has a barcode on it. You see it, that's our North Carolina Asset ID number. And our BIOS is programmed with that barcode. DHCP associates that barcode with an IP address. And that's dynamic. Well, Bomgar doesn't care about that. Bomgar is going to go DHCP and say, I want to know who 124689 is. Well, that's Kevin's laptop. Well, just put me into Kevin. I don't care where he's at. He could be on wireless. He can be in Burgaw. He can be in Surf City. I don't care. Downtown, whatever. As soon as they make that connection through Bomgar, then Bomgar is going to connect to my laptop, and then it's going to make that connection. So if somebody calls me and says I'm having problems with my machine, I'm going to ask them what their inventory number is, put that in, connect it up, and it's going to add to that ticker. That adds up real quick. Now, a lot of that too, like I said, is our vendors. We were using Cisco VPN for our vendors, and it seems like every time you turn around, somebody is getting hacked, right? Or somebody has found that a vendor has gotten away with a whole bunch of data, a whole bunch of information that they weren't supposed to have. Hardly any way of tracking that through VPN. That's one of the nice things about Bomgar. Whenever I remote into a machine, everything is tracked. Everything is video recorded and stored, and it's kept on a server. You've got the chat session is recorded, as well as a video of every part of the screen. all that's put on server. We can go back and view that anytime. I'm quickly running out of time here, so I want to give you guys a little bit of time for questions if you have any. All right, so these are some links that I've got that I want to show y'all. Let's end this. Now, our representative console, this is all about help desk. So first let me go through this. All right, our students and faculty and staff can go into Bomgar 2 different ways. This is our support portal page. This was our original support. You don't see this. Why don't you see this? Technology, you failed me. All right. I told it to duplicate my screen and it didn't duplicate my screen. All right, any questions while I'm fumbling around here like a, yeah.
It looks like you have a pretty large enrollment at community college. What's the number of full-time employees you have at Cape Fear as far as IT department?
IT, and I'm told this is quite massive and quite ridiculous, but we are at 34. That's IT total, and we have there are 7 others like me. I'm sorry, there's nobody like me. I'm way out in weird field, but there's 7 technicians. My brother is desktop support specialist. He administrates the Bomgar box and the K1000, K2000. The rest are admins. Any admins in here? Okay, I'll move on. So anyway, yeah, we like to make fun of the admins, but we have a lot of admins, but we have over 300 physical servers. We have over 200 virtual servers. We have a ton of stuff that has to be maintained daily, and it's just it's growing. We're constantly bringing down our physical servers and growing our virtual servers. We're trying to lower our footprint, but for years it's been, okay, how do you fix it? Throw another application at it, throw another device at it, and that's just over the years that's just added up. 15 years ago, I don't know why, but Wired.com named Cape Fear Community College as the community college to watch for technology, and that just fell flat. I mean, I don't, because when I started there, it's like, man, you guys are so far behind, you know. When I got my CET degree, we were further along than the IT department was. But anyway, yeah, it's a big IT department, but we also just brought in the audio and video section. We're getting ready to open the doors on a 1,600 seat amphitheater with orchestra pit, 3 layers with balconies. I mean, it is such a massive community college. We have 4-year programs through a couple of different universities. We funnel like 60% of our students into University of North Carolina in Wilmington. We're into everything. I mean, we teach everything from fly fishing to lasers. We're getting ready to open. We're getting ready to break ground on our what's it called? I think it's Applied Technologies or something like that. But yeah, they're going to do veterinarian, lasers. We got one of the few nuclear programs on the East Coast. We funnel a lot of people into GE for their nuclear division. It's amazing. Yes, sir.
3,000 nodes. What is your replacement cycle? How many years?
If you ask my boss, as long as there's technicians, we're not replacing anything anymore. So we were replacing every 3 years when the warranty ran out, And once you start getting to 3,000 nodes, and right now I think it's like 31 something, it's very expensive.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I know that, and we have right now 11 years of computer models. Just imagine that. We have about 6,000 nodes on the desktop and laptop side. But the amount of calls, it's I don't, I mean, you maybe do something very, very good for people not to be calling that much to the help desk, because the numbers don't seem too high on the call. So, I mean, maybe we want to touch on that, how you've been that successful with the amount of calls.
We've got probably our oldest machines right now are 5 years. We just pulled out some 280s that are about 7 years old, and I think those were the last survivors. But we're an all Dell shop, and I got to give some props for Dell. We see about a 1% failure rate in those. They do really well. We just upgraded a bunch of 755s to solid state drives. Everything I spec out now, I spec out with solid state drives, and we're trying to get to where we're replacing computers every 5 years now instead of every 3 years. We can't keep going with it. Can't keep doing 3 years. It's too expensive.
The other problem with the solid state drives that I see is that, and this was brought up by CISO, that forensics, in case we need to do some forensics on a hard drive, it's a little bit harder. But
Yeah.
I guess lab computers for now.
Yeah. We don't ever hold anybody accountable for anything, so forensics doesn't matter for us. This is the student interface from a direct point of view. Basically, you put your name in, your company, what's going on, hit submit, and then it goes straight in to our representative console. You can also go at that from the portal. And what we've done on the portal is we've added a button. And I know I typed that in wrong. I can't do two things at one time. I've been telling everybody that for years. I'll tell you what, we're going to bypass that. We'll take you to this. Basically, it's very similar in nature when you go through the portal. And that's just taken way too long. Where's my representative console? Oh, come on. Well, I am connected. Yes. Whenever you bring up the representative console, you've got a list of computers that you can add in Bomgar where you have those anchored permanently. You've also got a list of people who are outside vendors who have access to Bomgar, and we allow them the ability to come in and use Bomgar from outside our network. We've also got a chat box where we talk amongst ourselves in the IT department, and a list of everyone who's connected is also there in that. Now, in the center of that is a list of every session that's going on at that time. So it does a round robin effect. Whenever somebody sends a session request to Bomgar, then it pops up in the screen, and then it starts sending a round robin request to everyone who's logged into Bomgar. That is in the IT tech container, that group. So the admins aren't bothered by it. The representatives that are outside the network, they're not bothered by it.
And how many people do you staff on the support side to handle that?
Right now, we try to keep all the technicians and all the temporary folks, we try to keep them logged in at all times. And that is 4 temporary employees and the 7 technicians.
And just one other thing. So users go to support.cfcc, that you request help. Were you showing us the campus portal? Can they ask for help within the portal?
Yes. Yeah, when you log into the portal, there's 2 buttons there. There's an Ask IT button. And that Ask IT button will bring you to a point, it'll bring you to a chat box where you can ask questions. And then there's also another button there that'll bring you straight to the Bomgar where you can log into a session.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
With the students, when you have them requesting help, they may not have a computer that's that's pre-registered. So how are you tracking them? And is this information all saved within Bomgar, or are you interfacing with some other call tracking system?
Bomgar is based on SQL, and all of that stuff is searchable. Bomgar has a fantastic tool where you can can't think of the name of it, but it lets you search that for anything that you want to do. Reports. It's a great reporting system. But good question on the outside, and 2 stories. I wish I had time to tell you. I'll tell you one real quick. I'm sitting there 7 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden, I get a request for help. And the IP address is completely, it's like 98 dot something. Definitely not on our network. The student is at her house. She's trying to register for classes, and it keeps telling her that her cookies are full, and she has no idea what to do. So I explained to her, this is going to install a very small program on her computer for a very short period of time. When we're done, it's going to uninstall. With her permission, I want to make a connection. She's like, please just fix it. You can tell in the chat she's frantic. Caps, exclamation points, you know. So I go into her machine, I go into her browser, I clear out her cookies, and for some reason WebAdvisor's real sensitive about that. So we refresh her browser, she goes in, and she's just ecstatic. And another great thing about Bomgar is it gives you the ability to push surveys after a session is completed. So the end user has the ability to tell your IT team, hey, this person did a bang-up job, fantastic, or this person was rude, this was a terrible experience. You know, I would not recommend this person to help anybody ever again. So, and we have all that stuff. It's searchable. It's very easy to set and pull those videos, pull those surveys, pull the chat dialogue from Bomgar, all within that from within the Bomgar console. Fantastic tool on all ends. Yes, sir.
With remoting into the assets that aren't owned by your college, are there any type of, like, I guess, legal terms of agreement or something like that? In terms of, if there's liability, like if somebody does remoting and something goes horribly wrong.
That's a real good question. And, my boss retired, previous boss retired a couple years ago. Our new boss is a VP, and he's looking into all of that. But basically, it's all about the end user having the best experience that they can. And if the end user, we never touched student machines before. If that machine didn't belong to us, we didn't touch it. We're at a situation, we're at a point now where we're actually putting hands on student machines, showing them how to turn their wireless on and off, how to clear out viruses. We're helping them. We're not physically going into the machine to do physical work, replacing hard drives and stuff, but as far as, soft work, as far as changing settings and hotkeys and things like that, it's a new world out there, and it's all about making the end user happy and their customers, And a lot of instances when you're looking at it, we see the same people for 2 years, they're family, you know, and we just want to make them happy. Any other questions? I think we're out of time. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to show you guys the Bomgar. I wish I had another 2 hours. I could talk about this stuff all day. I have a ton of cards. Please, if anybody has any questions, come grab a card, call me, email me, whatever. Thank you.